Why the fuck don't the Weasleys just adopt Harry?
So this is a good question.
Recording in progress.
Recording in progress.
Recording in progress. Here's a little thing you won't know about. 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, when I used to sometimes catch a ride into the city with my father when I was going to LaGuardia, we would listen to 1010 Wins News. Do you know what that is? Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
What a world.
1010 Wins News. That sounds like a local radio station.
Well, I believe it was, but their slogan was, "You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world."
That's a
And
good one.
in RoboCop, where RoboCop, which a lot of people don't realize is a total fucking satire.
Yeah.
The media break is called Media Break, and they're like, "Welcome to Media Break. You give us 3 minutes, we'll give you the world." Like, I imagine they took that directly from 1010 Wins News because it's local,
Yeah.
but it's New York City.
Yeah.
And there was a lady, and they did the thing where, like, in the background, you'd hear the sound of, I don't even know what was that supposed to be the sound of? Like a printing press, or maybe like someone on a telegraph. There was like a little sound in the background of like, it was a sound effect. It was an underscore. Anyway, there was a lady. Anyway, there was a lady called Judy DeAngelis, and they all had their, like, they would sign off in a way, this is Larry Wachtel for Prudential Security on 1010 Wins News, and Judy DeAngelis would go, "This is Judy DeAngelis." And sometimes they had to read copy from the sponsors, and so she would do it in the same way, and she would go, "Delta Airlines." So you just took me back there. I traveled through time and space when you were like, recording in progress.
That's excellent. There's a podcast that I listen to there where one of the hosts does that. It's called "Welcome into the Empire Podcast." I'm Anita Anand, and I'm William DeRipple. And it's just like it gets like more comedically, it's good stuff.
We should really do a podcast, you and me.
Hey, you know what? I've thought about it before, but I've never had the courage to like text you.
Well, I'm saying out loud for the very first time.
Okay.
Do you remember
Maybe
the
we should
bird
record our
cage?
conversations.
We should record our conversations. Do you remember the bird cage when Hank Azaria he's not like up to date with what the lie is. So he's like, "Let me take your bag as usual, or for the first time."
Oh, that's funny.
He's amazing. You definitely couldn't make that movie now.
I don't think I saw that one. I gotta go watch it. Or it's one of those movies that exists in that time period of time where you don't know if you saw it or not. So you got to make a decision whether you're going to like commit to having seen it or commit to not having seen it.
I caught a video by, I think it was Cinema Sticks, which I don't know if you and I have talked about Cinema Sticks, but if we haven't,
Cinnamon sticks or cinema sticks.
Cinema Sticks.
Wow, cinema dicks. Perfect.
Cinnamon Dicks. It's Cinema Sticks, and I think it's Sticks with an X, not with a Y, just with an X. It's not the River Styx.
Yeah.
But it's just a channel where this guy makes sort of like these tribute videos about movies and filmmakers. It's very good.
Nice.
I think you would really like it if you're not aware of Cinema Sticks.
That does sound like something I would like.
But he did a video about the bird cage, and like, I watched that movie, like I was a kid when that movie came out, and his video really helped me to appreciate that film.
Mm.
So if you do go to Cinema Sticks, I maybe would say start with the Birdcage one. It's
All
very
right.
good.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. One flew over the birdcage one. So I was actually thinking about recording a little Bamis message right when you texted me. Like I took a little. So my brain's a little scrambled right now because I don't know if you remember, but it was my birthday yesterday, and I did psychedelics all weekend, and so I'm pretty tired. I got back. I had to go to the city briefly for work today. Kind of took a nap, but I finished Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and I was like, I should send Bamis a little message, but I don't really have any energy, so I took a nap instead. And then I got around, and I was like, all right, let me go switch the books from, put the one in back in its place and take the one that's coming up out. So I pulled out Goblet of Fire and I brought it upstairs to my reading spot, and this motherfucking book upgraded. It's like between 3 and 4, the length seems to. I mean, I haven't looked at the page count, but it seems like it's close to doubling, if not full on doubling.
Doubling? You think so?
Well, I mean, I was thinking, should I send a message to Banis or should I take a picture? So I'm gonna take a picture, and you can tell me what you fucking, because like it's like part of me is like, is this gonna be triple the length? Which I know is a little ridiculous, but like
That's crazy. Because
I'll crack. I just texted you the picture of the two books back to back. Um,
it's coming back from space.
yeah, it's on its way.
I'm so glad that you were down to do a little session because I was going to go on tandem and I was going to do some language partying, but I'm exhausted. But I was kind of like forcing myself to do it because I need to be talking,
Yeah, yeah.
I need to be talking Spanish. So I did it last night for a little while. I'm trying to like make myself do it. But and I asked Elise, I was like, how long do you need? Like approximately. She's like, I'll text you. I was like, ballpark. She was
Mm.
like, hey, 20 minutes, that'll probably turn into a half hour. I was like, okay, I'll tandem. And I opened tandem and I was about to start looking at parties and I was like, let me text Gayev and be like, want to do 30 minutes right now? And that was delicious. You son of a bitch, I'm in. I'm like I'm titillated all over my
It worked out
bromance
pretty
right now.
well. Yeah, it worked out pretty well. I will say, Kellyanne is on her way back from the gym, so I might not get to the full 30 minutes. But
Hey, I'll fucking
that's
take it. I'll take it, man. Oh, holy shit.
look at it. It's crazy, right? So I just did the
Whoa.
page count, and it goes from 435 to like 7 something. So it's not quite double, but it's almost double.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, these motherfucking kids hit puberty and now their books are longer. Now they got more complicated feelings with dots and descriptions and plot points.
Damn. I wasn't aware of book length really because I was reading in that ridiculous way that I was intensively stopping at every single word and
Yeah.
examining every single letter. And when I got to the Order of the Phoenix, I was like, okay, this is much longer.
Yeah.
But I was like reading it on the small screen while it was erasing my memory. So I like,
Right. Right.
um,
Yeah.
wow, that's okay. Do you want to give me a brief, like anything about Azkaban or?
Yeah, definitely. Again, brains scrambled, so I'm not like at my most hilarious and poetic, or even intelligent, or even human.
Well,
But
Gaia, I'm in tip-top shape right now, so it's inexcusable.
this is excellent content we're producing. Maybe we should start a podcast. No, I really liked Azkaban. I think I liked it better than Chamber of Secrets. I think I'm liking them more as they go along, which makes sense as I am not a 10 or 11 or 12-year-old child.
Right.
Yeah, I will say the like wasn't the perfect book, but I would say like the like I was surprised enough at the twists. I didn't really see the Peter. I knew something was going on with Scabbers the rat, but I did not see the Peter Pettigrew. I don't know how it's said.
Oh,
Uh,
that's the Peter Pettigrew book. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't see that happening. I it was I'm glad that he finally won the Quidditch Cup. That was a really nice moment. I think they did a good job with the mystery, or she did a good job with the mystery. I thought it was pretty good. It didn't like blow my mind. I wasn't like writing home, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And Quidditch did I think Quidditch earned itself some points back in this book, because it makes a little more sense if you're doing it through the arc of if the scoring is over the arc of a season, not
Right.
just a match,
Right.
which is kind of a European way to look at sports.
Well, yeah. I recorded in a recent Gayev message, although it was me, so I suppose it was a Bamis message.
Yeah.
That I was on the highway cursing out other motorists,
Hmm.
and also at the same time telling you that because I have very little knowledge about international sports. I have very little knowledge about domestic sports. But when you told me that it made sense across a whole season like that, I said something to the effect of that because like look, it's Harry Potter, so there are things in there that are it's stupid. Okay, it's
Right. Yeah.
stupid, but
Yeah.
like I want to believe in as much of it as I can, as much as I can. And
Yeah.
so it made me it was sort of gratifying that you offered an insight into it that made Quidditch not such a total bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder if that's like just like as the kids grow up, the game. Like maybe she's like really playing on the long game here with all of it, and that like the details, she's just giving details that make sense to the point of view characters and
Mm,
to the, intended audience. And
mm-hmm,
so, because there was that scene in Azkaban where, they lose to Hufflepuff because the Dementors come and fuck Harry up, and uh and then like the Gryffindor captain is inconsolable because it's his senior year and he'll never win. And then the Weasley twins are like, well, if Hufflepuff beat or if Ravenclaw beats, Slytherin by 200 or this or that, and I was like, oh, okay. So, there is some logic going on there. It's not just like the Quidditch, the fucking snitch is worth 150 points and the game is over. Um, I'm super curious. So they mentioned at the end of Azkaban that the Quidditch World Cup is that summer. And I'm kind of hoping that instead of spending time with the fucking Dursleys, Harry is able to, get out the house and go to the Quidditch World Cup with the Weasleys. Why the fuck don't the Weasleys just adopt Harry?
so this is a good question. Why
Why
don't
the
the
fuck hasn't Harry been
Weasleys?
adopted by some fucking family? You know?
That's a great point, man. Also, disbanding Slytherin House is also a great point. But
Right.
I never thought of that. Why don't the Weasleys just fucking adopt Harry? Why don't they
Why
adopt
not?
him? Why doesn't he like for the summers? Why doesn't he just go stay with them 100% of the time? I can't think of a reason, and I'm almost at the end. I'm like three-quarters of the way through the last book, and I can't think. Wait, no, there is a reason.
Okay, I mean,
There's a reason.
so there's I got a couple thoughts, and I won't make you try to spoil it, but I do wonder if like it is something that we both know. But one, the Weasleys are poor, right, and they got a lot of kids already, so it is an extra expense. Harry's rich. We don't really know how rich. We don't know if it's enough. that for the Weasleys to actually, support him.
Uh,
So, I can see that. Two, we just found out that Sirius Black was Harry's godfather. But Sirius Black is still on the fucking run after
yeah.
Azkaban. I am assuming
Hmm.
at some point Sirius will be able to become a respected member of the, Wizarding Society at some point. But
Do
so
you know how delicious it is to have a conversation finally about Harry Potter with someone who's this is fantastic. Um,
yeah, this is fun. By the way, I think I responded, but I do hope you bought Jurassic Park because I'll jump into that shit.
you're into Jurassic Park?
I mean, I've never read the books, and I'm not like crazy about the movies, but like I would definitely, assuming that that the books are written well enough that it's not total dog shit. I'll read them and I'll compare that. Like I love that kind of exercise. I love reading sci-fi books and then watching the movies. And if you're doing it with me, like you will probably have seen the Jurassic Park movies more recently than me because I don't know that I have gone back for a post high school or post college watch. In fact, I'm not even sure how many of the Jurassic Park movies I've seen.
Mhm.
Because how many are there now? There's like six, nine. I don't know.
Well, they made three Jurassic Park movies, and then in recent years they made three Jurassic World movies, and I don't think those are based on books at all. I think those are
Oh,
just
okay.
Hollywood money things. But I mean, Michael Crichton, and there's no reason on God's green earth that it should be pronounced that way, but Michael Crichton, whatever, he's like a celebrated. I feel like Jurassic Park was like a New York Times top 20 or something.
Really? Well, geez, I mean, maybe that's interesting. Somehow it just never came across my radar. I guess as a kid I wasn't into dinosaurs enough, but yeah,
Well, don't
I'm
well
definitely gonna check
well
it
don't
out.
well don't quote me on what I just said, and I'm
Hmm.
not going to look it up right now.
Yeah,
But they're definitely they're bestsellers, or at least Jurassic Park is. I'm
yeah,
almost certain. And I feel like that'll be. And I said this in a Gayev message recently. I feel like that's a good. If I'm sort of doing a version of graded readers where the Harry
yeah.
Potter books go up and up and up. If the last one is meant for like 17-year-olds, I'll move on to something that's meant for adults, but still deals with like monsters of a certain kind, and then when I finish the book, there'll be a movie to watch once again.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'm glad you're into that because I pulled the trigger on that shit and I have the book. I have it. It's here. I have it. I
Oh,
have
nice.
El Parque Jurásico. Actually, it's not El Parque Jurásico. It's Jurassic Park, and then in teeny tiny typeface in parentheses, I think it says the Spanish version or something.
Okay. Nice, nice.
It's
I
not
also got,
like yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's not like Harry Potter y el prisionero del Azkaban. It's Jurassic Park in español.
That's funny. I got excited about another book, because so me and I think I told you my friend Denby from California came out for my birthday, and yesterday was our day. I took the day off work because it was my actual birthday, so we just kind of like chilled and we went around Beacon, and we went into this bookstore, and I was just like kind of looking at books, and I think I told you about one of my favorite authors, Ursula K. Le Guin, and so it's
Is
just
that
kind of
the short story version?
yeah, short stories, and she did Left Hand of Darkness, where it's a planet where everybody is one gender, and they, for reproduction, they, you know I'm gonna say, for lack of a better word, transform. One becomes male and one becomes female for the purpose of
Hmm.
reproduction,
Hmm.
and but it's you're thought of as weird if you stick to one gender. Anyway, um,
And that's
so
super
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, she's super, super interesting. She has this fantasy series called Earthsea that I'm just like, someday I'll have to read that. and I was walking through the bookstore, and I just like a book caught my like a tome caught my eye, and it was the entire works of Earthsea in one illustrated thing, and I'm just like, I gotta get this. You know, I mean, I've been thinking about reading this, and then this beautiful, and Kellyanne's really into the books that have like beautiful illustrations and whatnot. So
Uh-huh.
it's like kind of like aesthetically, I was like, this probably just will belong in our house anyway. Um, so I'm really excited about that. And it kind of goes along. I forget if I've told you about my world building project, but I'm getting all this world reading, this sci-fi fantasy world reading and consuming is getting me excited about this world building sci-fi fantasy that I've been working on.
You're Ben Wyatt. You know that?
Who's Ben Wyatt?
Are you a Parks and Recreation person?
No, I haven't gotten to Parks and Rec yet. I think I will at some
Oh,
point, but
okay. Well, then never mind for now. Um, Parks and Rec is one of those shows that I've watched the whole entire thing, like, I don't want to exaggerate, like infinity times.
that's no exaggeration. Not possible to be exaggerating at that number.
Oh, ye of little faith.
You're like, I'm
But
watching it right now. I'm
I'm
replaying it in
I'm
my chip.
I'm perpetually mind chip watching, but because that shit is like, I think I watched a little bit of The Office and I was like, okay, I get it, but like it didn't grab me. Parks
Yeah.
and Rec, it like occupies a place in my artistic journey through my life. But
Mm.
but if you have limited time, can we talk a wee bit about Azkaban, or have we talked as much as we're going to talk about that? Should we just
No,
move forward?
why don't we chat a little bit more about Azkaban and then Kellyanne's back, so maybe can be like a 5 minute warning because I think I did most of the Azkaban talking. So why don't you talk a little bit about Azkaban and then we'll call it.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Well, here's the thing, man.
You don't want to
Uh,
accidentally spoil something.
so yeah, so like I don't, yeah, because I don't like. I'm trying to zero in on just that story.
Gotcha.
And so, okay, so the prisoner of Azkaban is Sirius Black has escaped from Azkaban, and then Harry does some magic in the Muggle world, and then he gets on the what's the name of the bus in English?
The night bus, night with a K. What's the name of the bus in Spanish?
It's something noctambulo, and noctambulo is like nocturnal.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Interesting.
and he sees the dog,
He
and then
sees
when
the
he
dog, which he thinks is the Grim.
right. Um, okay, and what the fuck else happened to that? I remember the beginning and I remember the end. Somewhere in
All
between
right.
they do Quidditch.
Well, I've got the book in front of me, so I'll go through the chapters and just see if I can remember. Okay, so Owl Post, I don't remember what that was about, but Owl Post, yeah, it doesn't matter. Aunt Marge's big mistake. Harry does the magic shit and fucks up Aunt Marge terribly, and the Dursleys are terrified. I forget exactly what it was. Then there's the night bus where he sees the dog. Then there's the leaky. What happened at the leaky cauldron? I can't remember what happened at the Leaky Cauldron, but he was staying at
Oh,
the Leaky Cauldron for like 2 weeks before school started.
yeah, he goes there and he meets up with Fudge, who's the Minister of Magic,
Right.
and he's like, "Can I go to Hogsmeade?" And he's like, "No," but nobody wants to tell him why. Oh, and Arthur Weasley is like, "Don't go after Sirius Black," and he's like, "Why would I go after him? Because he doesn't know that
Yeah.
supposedly Sirius Black is the one who ratted on his parents and told
Yes.
Voldemort where his parents were and all that."
Yeah. And does Harry overhear that from no, so Harry overhears a couple things in this one. He overhears from Arthur Weasley, that they think Black is after him because of some connection with the parents. And
Right.
then and Mrs. Weasley is like, "Don't tell him." And Arthur Weasley, or no, Mrs. Weasley, I forget. One of the parents says, "Don't tell him." One of the parents says, "We should tell him." Harry hears it anyway. Um,
It's
and then
probably Molly that
later,
doesn't want to tell him. Yeah.
yeah. Later, I'm skipping, but later he overhears in Hogsmeade, while wearing, I think, the invisibility cloak. Or no, I think at this point he's just like hiding under the table. He overhears the story of Sirius Black being the secret keeper and him being the betrayer. But um, which turns out, so the logic thing that didn't really track for me there was Sirius Black convincing them to switch the secret keeper over to Peter Pettigrew. Um, because even though he suspected Pettigrew of being like, no, he didn't suspect Pettigrew of being, but like, why? So he expected Voldemort to come after him because he was the secret keeper. So that's why he convinced Pettigrew to be the secret keeper instead, or he convinced the Potters to make Pettigrew the secret keeper instead.
I don't remember this stuff about the secret keeper. The secret keeper thing comes up again in this last book, but
Hmm.
I don't remember what role that played in that book. I just remember that Sirius Black supposedly killed a whole bunch of Muggles,
Right.
but it wasn't him. Really, it was Peter Pettigrew. Like
So
he
Sirius
lost
Black was trying to kill Peter Pettigrew out of revenge for betraying the Potters.
because it was
Uh,
really him that
yes.
betrayed them.
Exactly. And
Right.
Peter turned himself into a rat, and the magic that Peter did supposedly killed the 12 people behind him or something like that. I think it was that.
Huh. Something like that. Okay. Okay.
Uh, then we had the Dementors, and Harry passing out with the Dementors. That was fun. I felt
And you
bad for
made
him.
it you made a great point about like why the fuck are they putting dementors around the school?
Yeah. Yeah. What the fuck is that about? Like, that seems like a terrible thing to do for your children who you're trying to make the next generation of wizards and witches.
By the way, if you publish this, you have to put in the notes like fucking spoiler alert. We're talking
Yeah.
about the events of Harry Potter.
Yeah, we are spoiling your alert. If you haven't read Harry Potter at this point, well, neither have I, so I guess I can't say anything sarcastic.
It's like that Nate Bargatze bit about the Sixth Sense. He's like, it's listen, I'm not trying to do a Sixth Sense bit, but like the movie's 20 years old. So like if you don't
Yeah.
know, he's dead, and that's kind of a big part of it. Um,
Yeah.
but
Oh, I remember something interesting that I wanted to bring up to you about Azkaban.
mhm.
The Bogart. You remember
Mm,
the Bogart?
the Boggart.
The Bogart. See, I'm pronouncing it Bogart because I was thinking it was based off Humphrey Bogart, the actor, because it's a thing that becomes whatever you're most afraid of. So I was wondering if there was a connection there, but you don't think that's true.
I've never thought about that ever, and I won't make any statements about that because maybe that's a thing. But there's two G's in it, so that makes me think Boggart. Also, I think a lot of these things, if I've watched the movie, probably in my brain, they probably that's what they say in the movie.
Yeah, that's probably true. I also don't know how to spell Humphrey Bogart. I didn't look that up. I didn't think that deeply into it.
But so what a that it's based on Humphrey Bogart. I don't know.
That
I
was
mean,
Yeah, that was just I wondered if that was like a clever little thing that J.K. Rowling was doing.
I feel like if one or the other of us wanted to look up like the root, like the component parts of the word boggart or whatever, maybe there's some kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. We could do that, but
It
we
was
also
heart. It was heartbreaking for me that Sirius was like, "You can come live with me," and like as he's following him out, he's like, "I'm gonna fucking my life is gonna change
ah
finally," and then he's got to go on the lam and he's got to go back with the Dursleys. which
Yeah,
why
that
won't the
was
Weasleys just adopt him? Because like I don't buy the whole they're too poor to adopt him because they have like 7 children
all right. They
and
keep having them.
they always talk about how poor they are, but whenever he's at their what's the name of the Weasley's house in English?
It's like what do they call it? I wanted to call it the Stacks, but it's definitely not that. What day was it? Which book was it that he went to that? Was it book one or it was book two? I don't have that in front of me. So, what's
It
it
was probably
called?
is book 2 the one where they go in the flying car and they go to the Whomping
Yes.
Willow?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
So
So,
that would have been in the second book.
yeah. I can't remember what it's called, but it has a cool little name. But I think of it as the Stacks because it's like
Is
goes
it?
up very tall.
Is it the Burrows?
Oh, is it the Burrow? Yeah, the Burrow. It might be the Burrow or the Burrows. Yeah.
In Spanish, it's La Madriguera, which sounds like madrugada. So I always think about the dawn because that's what madrugada means.
Mm.
And the Whomping Willow is El Sauce Boxeador, which means the boxing willow.
Oh, that's fun. That's a good one. What is Dementor in Spanish?
I think it's just Dementor. I think it's Dementor
Oh,
or whatever. I don't think they
oh,
changed that. I think they keep those words the same. Like invented words, I think stay the same. But
oh,
like,
gotcha.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, so I imagine you have to go any minute. So I'm just trying to think
yeah.
of like what are the most meaningful things I want to try to end this particular episode with. Um, Yeah, what I was saying, I don't buy the whole they're too poor to fucking maybe that's sort of like the official position, but like every time he goes to their house, like Molly Weasley is always cooking up a storm. Like I feel like
Mhm.
they can provide for him. And if he has all of this insane wealth at Gringotts or Gringotts or whatever it is,
Yeah.
like he could sort of contribute something. Like they could work it out. They could adopt him.
They could work it out for sure. I mean, I don't really know the economy, the economics of raising a child in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, but it
Right,
does seem
right.
like they could work it out. I have always wondered, like, how rich is Harry? Because the first time we go to Gringotts, I don't know which one it is, he sees like all this gold and everything, but he's 11, so he has no idea how much money that is. And even he is like he restrains himself from buying the firebolt in Azkaban, which, by the way, what's firebolt in Spanish?
Is that the broom?
The broom, yeah.
It's called Firebolt.
Yeah.
It's called Firebolt.
Yeah, yeah. What's it called in Spanish?
It's called La Saeta de Fuego, and saeta is another word for arrow, which the normal word for arrow is flecha, but
Ah,
it's Saeta de Fuego, which is like the fire arrow
oh,
or
that's
the
good.
arrow of fire.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, but firebolt is there are so many of these terms that are probably so much better in the original language.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Um,
But
but
I this was a little detail that I really enjoyed. Is that when they revealed the firebolt, they said that like the Irish national team was going to use it, and they were the favorites for the World Cup, and I was like, oh hell yeah, there's a fucking World Cup. The Irish are the
mhm.
favorites. It's nice that the Irish are getting a little bit of love there.
Oh,
So that one's
I'm tempted to spoil a little teeny tiny thing for you.
is it something about the World Cup?
It's something about the World Cup. Should I hold my tongue or do you want it?
Hold your tongue. I will because if you're gonna tell me like the Irish are gonna like play against the English or something, I'll get all I don't know. What book is it? How far do I have to go? Do you know?
I think it's in the book that you're just starting now. So maybe I'll just start.
Oh yeah.
It's not about that exactly. It's about um here's what I'll say. This story, The Goblet of Fire, you adapt a book into a film, and then the film, if you're going to make a film, you have to choose which things you're going to put in the film and which things
Yeah.
you're going to leave out.
Yeah.
And there are things that happen in the book that in the film they just completely and utterly skip over,
Yeah. Right.
and Ryan George makes fun of that fact. But I'll leave that at that.
All right. Fair enough. Well,
But
and maybe we shall leave this message at that.
okay, we can leave it there. I'd love to do more live Harry Potter talk, because I feel like when it comes to the Harry Potter talk, I feel like that's way better doing it live. But
Oh, it's way
we
better.
also,
Yeah.
but we have I only have about 1,000 things I want to tell you about the last couple of days and the things I've done, and do more episodes. So, but we'll find
Yeah.
more time to go live. By the
Yes.
way, if you want to like send me this recording and I can listen through it and decide that there's nothing offensive about it, maybe you want to just throw that up there.
Yeah.
We can talk
We
further
could.
about that.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. I'll send you this recording when I look at my phone later, and I guess that can be that.
All right, very good.
Let's see here. I know that we've got a toast. It's your toast. You toast us.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed this, probably you have, but lately, instead of signing off with Hail Satan, I've been saying Hail the Dark Lord.
Ah,
So I might just Hail the Dark Lord.
all right. Well then, peace and hate. Yeah, peace and love.
All right, Hail Satan.
Thank you.